Hi everyone. So I thought I would do Booktube Pet Peeves. Now, I'm not going to do a disclaimer. I'm just going to go in because a lot of people tend to do disclaimers and all that stuff. Booktube Pet Peeves, there might be some stuff in here that maybe offends you, but that's life. So the first one is toxic fandoms or toxic positivity. There are certain books that come out, maybe by certain authors, or it has like certain representation in it, what have you. And if you criticize that book, just constructive criticism, there will be somebody in your comment section on your YouTube video or in your Instagram that will love to lecture you on how you are wrong. You know, I hate that. I've been seeing that for years where people are like, I can't believe you didn't like that book. Well, Susan, I'm sorry that you didn't like that, you didn't like my opinion. I'm sorry that you just don't agree with me, but that's life. We're not going to agree with each other on everything. And what I find enjoyment in is going to be different than what you find enjoyment in. So stop being a butthole. That's basically what it is. Stop lecturing to people on how they should read these certain books and they should love them. Because it's not going to happen. We're living in the real world. We're not living in a fantasy world where everybody sings Kumbaya and we've got rainbows and butterflies and, everybody agrees with everything somebody has to say. We live in reality. Everybody has their own set of morals and rules that they go by in life. And they may be different than yours. Get over it. And there are people who do that toxic positivity, who will lecture you. And then at the end of that lecture, they'll be like, I love that book. They're basically subtly bullying you because you don't agree with them. They didn't go and blatantly say that you're this or you're that, but they didn't have to. They pretty much told you, well, your opinion is invalid because I loved that book. That's basically what they're saying. Oh, to be that ignorant. I don't know. Because that's what I see it as. I see it as ignorance. You're being ignorant toward this other person who has a different opinion than you because you don't like what they have to say. You're ignorant. That's what it is. You're willfully ignorant or you're ignorant. Either one is bad. Willfully ignorant is you know it's bad, but you do it anyway because you don't like this person's opinion. So there's that. Number 2 is politics of any kind on your Booktube channel. Again, I don't want to be lectured to. I don't want to have somebody tell me their politics and think that they are the arbiter of truth. Everyone has different political leanings. There are some people that I know that are conservatives. There's some people I know who are Republicans. There's some people I know who are Democrat, liberal. I try to get along with everybody because taking a side and hating this other side because you don't like what they promote, it's not going to solve anything. It's not going to make this country any better. It's not going to make everybody get along. It's going to cause more hate and division. So for me, I don't want to hate anybody. Whether your political leanings are different than mine or your religious leanings are different than mine, what have you. We all have gone on a different journey in life. We all don't take the same path. So what we have seen throughout our life is going to be different. What we have seen with our eyes, we visually have seen, or what we've heard throughout our lives is going to be different than what this other person has seen and heard. So for me, I try not to do that to others. I try not to lecture others on how I know more and you're just some peasant that needs to listen. I don't do that. I don't do that. If you want to be a political channel, then say so and get off of Booktube, because this is not the place for you. We're here to talk about books, not politics. You know, and everybody wants to make everything about politics. I don't care. I don't want to be lectured to. I have my own belief system. You have your own belief system. Let's leave it as that. You know, we don't need to argue with each other. You know, it's about respect. If you can't respect me and my beliefs, I'm not going to respect you and yours. Number 3, Booktube channels that use the same songs in their vlogs. Hoy. There are a couple of channels that I like. I do like them. I like the personalities. I think they're, you know, really good booktubers, but they use the same songs in their vlogs. Now, I understand with the whole copyright infringement and all that stuff. Oh, man. Social media really loves to stick it to you if you're trying to be original or you're trying to, like, put out content, you know, and things like that. YouTube, Facebook, I mean, they all do it. They will copyright your video. I've had like, I've gone onto Instagram and I've maybe used like a song in one of my stories that ended up getting like held for review, and I was like, it's on your site, Instagram. The song is on your site. Why are you giving me copyright infringement when it's on your site? Why do you have music on there if you're going to copyright infringe my story? So yes, I understand it's frustrating when you're trying to use a song for like a story or whatever it is. I don't know how about anybody else. I've gotten that a few times and I've had to appeal it. I've had to appeal it and say, Instagram, this song is on your site. So I get it. It's so frustrating. But when you repeat the same song, I get to the point where I have to mute the person's video and wait until they're talking to their camera before I go and unmute them, because it is so annoying. I'm like, I've heard this song a million freaking times. I don't want to hear it anymore. It's like being in hell and it's this album that's on a loop for you and you keep hearing the same album over and over again. And I'm like, no, not this song again. I can't do it. I can't do it. Can't. The next thing is booktubers who whine about consumerism. I'm so tired of hearing about it. If you don't want to buy a lot of books, like maybe either you can't afford them or, you know, because not everybody can afford books. That's the hard reality of it. Not everybody can afford books. And I feel bad for the ones who can't. This is why, for me, I try to donate as many books as I can to, like, there are free little local libraries all around me. And I try to donate as many books as I can. The ones that I'm like, this isn't in really good condition, I could donate it to somebody else and they can read it for free. They got a free book, you know. All you have to do is, you know, just go and exchange maybe books that you don't want to read anymore, put them in a little free library, and then you take books out. I've done that, you know, multiple times. So there are ways that you can get like free books and things like that. But there are people who just, they love to complain about consumerism. And I'm tired of it. I'm tired of hearing it. So when a person starts saying that, I tune out. I'm like, no, I'm done. I'm done. There's other people I can watch that don't complain about it, you know? If you want to buy books, buy books. If it makes you feel happy buying books, buy as many books as you like. I don't care. It doesn't matter to me. And if you don't like to buy a lot of books, that's fine too. You know, it's your business. So the next one is booktuber infighting. Oh, I have seen this. And it's just, to me, it's like, I consider it as problematic booktubers. These are people who, they want to start fights with people. They want to start this division with people and mess up the community. It's like, it's someone who joins a group and they want to just mess up the whole group because they don't like maybe the person who's running it. Maybe they want to be the person who's running it and have everyone else listen to them. I don't know if that's the case, but ooh, man, I've seen booktubers like go at it with each other, you know, and I'm like, okay, I've listened to this person's side and I listen to this person's side. So there's always like your truth, her truth, and the truth. So I try not to take sides when it comes to stuff like that. So yeah, for me, I don't like it when booktubers fight with each other. If you can't get along, okay, then I'm going to put you in the corner and you need to not talk to each other. You know? Come on! You don't need to act like children. Because then you know what? I'm going to treat you like a child. You're going to go in the corner for time out. And you're going to be quiet. I swear. One thing I've noticed is that women love to fight with each other. They love to talk crap about each other. Like recently, my sister and her former best friend fighting on Facebook. And I'm like, really? You really had to go to social media to go and like fight with each other? You couldn't have talked to each other on the phone or face to face? Why do you need to fight with each other? Women do this. They constantly want to backstab other women or fight with you. I'm not that type of female. I don't like doing that. It is so petty. It is so immature. Grow up. If you can't get along with each other, then don't talk to each other. Don't watch each other's videos. Act like mature adults, please. So yes, I don't like that. I don't like people arguing with each other or starting like drama with somebody because they don't like this person. Don't watch them then. Next one is Booktube social climbers. I have seen this personally when I had another channel. My first channel, before I got deleted. My first channel, I had a few booktubers that are now like way over me. And they started talking to me. And then, I don't know, maybe they just didn't like what I had to say. Or maybe I wasn't like popular enough for them, so they decided to move on to this person. And they're like, oh, they hang out with this popular booktuber. And to me, I think of it as like social climbing. You're trying to latch on to a popular YouTuber because you think that your numbers can grow, which it does help. I will say that. I will say it tends to work. It tends to work on that person's favor because if you join a group that a popular booktuber is in, you will get noticed. You will get noticed. You will get recognized. You'll have more people who subscribe to you. But for me, I focus on the views. If people are watching me, that's more important to me than subscribers. Because if you don't have the views, if you don't have the watch time hours, your videos are not going to get promoted. They're not going to get pushed out there into the YouTube algorithm, you know? So people have to actually watch your content, you know, not just be subscribed to you. So I just kind of think about it as you can gain all these subscribers and say you gain 1,000 subscribers because you want to go and get monetized for your channel. Totally get it. But if nobody's watching you, it's not going to help. Ultimately, it's not going to help your channel. It won't help your channel grow. You're growing artificially. You're not growing naturally or organically, you know? So to me, I'd rather gain organically, like people who actually like watching me, actually like my personality, or, you know, whatever the case may be. You actually like me and the things that I have to say, not because I'm friends with this popular person or that popular person. You know, it just doesn't matter to me. So that's what I think about it. There's social climbers. I get why they're doing it, but ultimately it doesn't help them if nobody's watching their channel. So the next one is booktubers who don't do negative reviews. On the one hand, I do understand the people who don't want to do negative reviews, especially for certain books, because you can get attacked in the comment section. But for me, it's like, look, you're putting yourself out there publicly, and there will be people who will say something to you that is nasty. That is something that you have to prepare yourself for when you go on here. There might be people who, this person comes into my comment section and they want to go and call me a fat pig or something because I'm heavy, I'm overweight. Thank you, Captain Obvious. I already realize I'm overweight, so you really didn't need to go and tell me I was a fat pig, because I already know this. So there's that. And then also, you know, I get why people don't want to, you know, leave negativity. They want to leave positivity. I can understand that. But if you are being fake with your review, like if you really didn't like the book, you know, you should say so. You should go and say that you didn't like the book. You'd say, you know what, unfortunately, it didn't work for me, and these are the reasons why, you know, and explain why it didn't work for you, and go from there. There's always going to be somebody who doesn't like what you have to say. It's just, that's life, you know? So for me, it's like when I see this person and they're constantly doing like, oh, this book is a 5-star, this book is a 6-star, and I'm like, did you really think it was a 5-star? Did you really think it was a 6-star? You know? I wonder about some people. And I get it. I get it. You don't want the hate. But if you're not being genuine, some people pick up on it. I could pick up on people who are being fake. I have watched videos for how many years now, and I'm like, this person is fake. They're not giving me any kind of details about the story, about the characters, that other than maybe what they read, you know, on the back of synopsis and all that stuff. They're not giving me any explanation of like how they really felt about the book. So that's how I could tell, like, okay, this is a fake review. They don't want to have negativity toward them, or they want to kiss the author's butt. I don't know what it is, but I hate that. I'm like, just, you know, sometimes you are gonna not like a book. That's just life, you know. So the next one is booktubers who are overly critical of books that were written 20 to 30 years ago, or the time period of where the characters are in. Look, if you do not like the treatment of how women were like 50 years ago, 100 years ago, 200 years ago, don't read a historical romance. This is the one thing that I've noticed about historical romance lately, is they're trying to modernize it. Now, I understand why they're trying to modernize it. They're trying to get a bigger audience for that type of subgenre. But historical romance is not going to work for everybody, because there's going to be certain things that are in these historical romance books that women don't have that agency that they do today. Women do not have the freedoms or the privilege that they do today, the equality. And I get it. It will anger you. It will trigger you. Don't read the historical novel then. Don't read it. Don't read it. Just stick to contemporary or fantasy romance or whatever have you. You know, you are reading something that you like and find enjoyment in. I like historical romance. Now, of course, they're not going to be 100% accurate on certain history. You know, I understand that. They're going to take certain liberties with that type of content, you know. But there's stuff that modern romances are doing that I don't particularly like. And they're trying to almost kind of turn historical romances into contemporaries. And I don't like that. I'm like, no, this is why it's a subgenre. Either people like historical romances or they don't. Like, there's a book that I did like the book, but I will say the hero, the way he spoke, his dialect was too modern to me. And I was like, people in like the 1800s wouldn't talk like that. They're not going to talk like that, you know? He had certain phrases he said that I was like, this is too modern. And I'm like, did this author not realize that it's too modern for the time? That people didn't say stuff like that back in the time. So it kind of takes me out of the story. And I'm like, this isn't a historical romance, you know? So this is why I'm like, don't be overcritical of these books, because they serve their purpose for the time frame of when they were released. You know, they serve their purpose. If you do not like a Joanna Lindsay because of certain problematic things that there might be in it, don't read them. Don't read them. Let others enjoy them if they want to. Stick to contemporaries if that's what you find enjoyment in. But don't bash the book's contents because of the time of when it came out, you know, because it's not fair to those authors that you're being overly critical, because times have changed. Drastically, times have changed. Things that were acceptable 10 years ago are not acceptable now. Things that were acceptable 20, 50, 100 years ago are not acceptable now. People change, we grow, we evolve as a society. So to me, when you're overly critical, it really hurts. You know, it hurts me because I'm like, you're trashing this person's work. And I just don't like that. It's not fair to the author. You know, especially like if you've read, maybe like if the person is still an author today and, you know, they're still writing, maybe their writing has changed, you know. I have seen an evolution when it comes to certain authors that I've been reading for like 20 years now. There has been an evolution to their writing, and either it's a good thing or it's a bad thing, you know. But I just don't like that. I don't like the overcritical of something that was written like 100 years ago. Like, say somebody tries to critique Jane Austen's novels. Jane Austen's dead. She can't go and, you know, defend herself, you know. If you want to go and overly critique somebody who's alive today, okay. But someone who's been dead for 100 years now, you know, or 200 years, they can't defend themselves, you know, and their work. It was the time, you know? So yeah, I try not to be overly critical when it comes to certain like historical romances, because I'd be like, oh man, I even may think to myself, there's some problematic stuff in this. But I try not to be overly critical. Maybe I'll leave it as like a 3 or something like that. I'd be like, oh, it was a decent story, but there was certain things I didn't like about the story. But I try not to be overly critical because I realize for that time, that book was probably super popular. But for right now, I'm not really into it. So yeah, I just don't like it. It's being mean. You're just, you know, being petty at that point. And it's not a good look. So number 9 is booktubers or Instagrammers who demonize others for liking books that have problematic content. This is another thing that I do not like. There is somebody who a couple of years ago, 1 or 2 years ago, went after a couple of booktubers on Twitter because she was kicked out of this group because of how she acted in the group. And so she went on Twitter trying to, you know, rally the forces kind of thing. And what she did was wrong. And I've seen her recently creep back in to YouTube and start drama. I don't like that. What I do is I will pre-block them before they even discover my channel. If I know them, they may not know me. They're already blocked. Do not come into my comment section and try to lecture to me. So this person I've seen creeping back up again, and they were lecturing to this other fellow booktuber about this particular book, that you shouldn't read that because of this, this, and this. Let people read what they want to read. Even if it is problematic, let people read what they want to read. If you don't like what this person has to say, don't follow them. Stick to your own people who agree with you 100%. If that's what you want to do, go ahead. For me, I like to have diversity. I like to have diversity of thought. That's a thing. Not just diversity in pigmentation, but also diversity of thought. I may not agree with somebody, but I respect their freedom of speech to say what they thought about this book, what they thought about that book. I may agree with them, I may disagree with them. But to go in somebody's comment section and demonize them and treat them badly because you don't like what they had to say about a book, especially a fictional book, something that's made up, and you want to rally the other trolls that agree with you, and you want to take this person down. You basically want to cancel this person. That's what you want to do. And I don't believe in cancel culture. You know, of course they will say something differently. It's not cancel culture. You know, it's accountability culture. I hate that too. Leave people alone. If they don't agree with you, leave them be. Focus on yourself and your own growth. So yes, I do not like that. I don't like it when Instagrammers do it. Like, there's certain authors out there that there's certain books that of maybe like different cultures and different races and things like that, that maybe they weren't as accurate in their portrayal of. And so some Instagrams will attack this person for posting like this particular author's books, you know, like, oh, well, that's not a fair representation of that certain blah, blah, blah. And so I'm like, okay, well, maybe the person just liked the picture. Maybe they liked the cover. Maybe they liked the step back. Because there are plenty of books that I have that are more older school books that maybe were like made 20, 30 years from now, ago. And I'm like, okay, it may have some problematic themes in it. It may have some things that's not a fair representation of that particular race or that culture or whatever it is. But I may still like the book. You know, I may not agree with everything that the author wrote, you know, but I still may like the artwork that an artist decided to paint, you know, when people still painted, for that romance novel. And that's what I want to promote. I want to promote the art. Look how beautiful this picture is. You know, I may not agree with the content that was written inside that book, but, you know, I may not condone it or, you know, and all that stuff, but I still like to go and show it off on my page because it's my page. It's my own personal Instagram, or whatever I post on YouTube. It's my own personal YouTube. It's my channel. If you don't like what's being promoted, then don't watch it. But I hate the lecturing. I hate the lecturing. I hate the demonizing. I hate all of that. Stop doing that. Stop it. You know, if you don't like this person and what they promote, then don't follow them. Mute them. Mute their stories if you have to. You know, go and unfollow them, unfriend them, whatever, block them, whatever have you. If that's how you feel, then do that. But I hate the demonizing. I hate that. Stop doing that to people. So, the last one is live streams and reading sprints. I don't know what it is. I doubt I will ever do a live stream for my channel, because sometimes you may say something that doesn't sound right and you can't go in and edit it, you know, edit it out. You know, somebody's already seen that live stream. They've already seen what you had to say. I like this here better because I'm like, oh, I don't like the way I sound in the video, so I can go and either edit it out if I know how to edit it out. I'm not really good at that. Or I just go and redo the video and say, okay, let me make it sound like this. So I don't like, ultimately, I'm not here to offend anybody. I give my opinions. I don't mean to offend anybody. If I do, that's not my intention. But my intention is to give my opinions. If you can't handle my opinions, I may not be the channel for you. So I don't particularly care for live streams, because there have been people who have said something in a live stream, and then all these people were on Twitter, you know, oh, did you hear what this person said? And blah, 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 and all this other stuff. And I'm just like, Twitter is so toxic. It brings out all of the toxic people that love drama. So, yes. I'm not a big fan of live streams, because you have to basically delete your live stream and pretend it didn't exist. So I just don't like that. I'm not a fan of it. And maybe if you want to do like a live stream book haul kind of thing, there's always that. But their videos tend to be too long, and I just don't have the time to watch live streams all the time, you know? And I think I saw somebody like recently did like a 5-hour live stream, and I'm like, dang, man, I can't sit there for 5 hours and watch this live stream. I don't have the time, you know? I just don't have the time. It's too much. It's too much. So I'm not a big fan of live streams. And then same thing with like reading sprints. I am not a fan of people that maybe like there's 3 or 4 or 5 people all in, you know, who have joined together for this reading sprint. And that's fine if you want to do it as a group thing, if that's your thing, you know, you like reading with other people and giving your opinions and all that stuff. That's fine. I have no problem with that. But I'm a solitary person. That's just me. I like to read by myself. I don't want to read next to somebody and they're giving me their commentary on the same book, because I'm like, man, just wait until the review, man. I'm like, just wait until the end when I finish the book and I can tell you my thoughts and then you can tell me yours. Just don't, you know, stop doing that. It annoys me. I just don't like it. I'm not a fan of it. If you like that, awesome. Then stick to that. That's what you like. Good for you. For me though, this is why I'm not, I don't consider myself part of like, you know, certain Booktube groups and all that stuff. I don't consider myself a part of certain groups, because I don't agree with everything that the group stands for. It's just, I'm an individual. I have my own thoughts, and I just don't like to be a part of groups and that group think and all that stuff. It's not my bag. And I just, you know, some people I just don't particularly like on here. So I tend to avoid them. And then usually they're like kind of like in this group of people. And I'm like, that booktuber I don't really care for. And now they're in this reading sprint and I have to hear their opinions. And I don't want to hear their opinions. So I'm not a big fan of reading sprints. I just don't care for it. And yeah, it's the whole, like, you're sitting there for like a half an hour, it's quiet, and you're just sitting there reading. It's just, that's not my time. That's not my type of fun. If you're going to do that, I log out. I log out of it and I'm like, no, I'm done. And I don't want to watch anymore. It's not my thing. If other people like it, awesome, you know, great for them. Then they enjoy themselves. But for me, I doubt you'll ever see a reading sprint from me, or a live stream. It won't happen. It won't happen. I like to stick to like my videos and do that. I don't want to do anything else on here. I don't like to join in on, like, you know, the groups and all that stuff, like when they're doing like readathons and all that stuff. The only thing I could say, the one readathon I actually like is the Kindle clear out, because then I can go through my Kindle and try to read as many books as I can to try to get them off my Kindle, so then I can go and borrow some more books, because I have a tendency of doing that. I will have a book on my Kindle from, you know, that is something I borrowed from Kindle Unlimited, and it'll be on there for months, and I'm like, man, I need to get to this book so that way I can borrow something else. So yeah, that's it for this video. I'm starting to sweat, and that's all I wanted to do, is just kind of like talk about that. I'm sure other people have like other things that maybe they're not a big fan of when it comes to BookTube. But yeah, those are my thoughts. And if you want to have a discussion down below and you would disagree with me, just please be civil. That's all I ask for. Please be civil. We can have a civil discourse down below. If you agree with me, you can always tell me down below in the comment section. But yeah, that's it for this video here. Have yourself a good day. Take care of yourself. Be kind to each other. And I will see you all on the next video. All right. Bye.